What's going on, everyone? Scott here. Welcome back to the channel. So the NCAA tournament bracket is officially here. All the matchups are set and ready to dive into this bracket. Now, this video is just going to be kind of a brief overview, initial thoughts on the brackets going down each region here, initial thoughts and such. We will, as we move throughout the week, here this first week of March Madness, we will have breakdowns, videos, separate videos for each region: South region, East region, West region, and Midwest region. So we'll have separate videos for that. And then at the end of this week, before we move into the first games on Thursday, we will have a full bracket predictions video up as well. We'll have the same thing for the women's side of the bracket as well, recording about an hour before the women's bracket is revealed. So we'll have an initial thoughts video on the women's side of the bracket as well. And then same thing as we move throughout the week, we will have predictions for the women's side of the bracket as well. So before we jump in, if you could just hit that like and subscribe button down there. As we said, more NCAA basketball content on the channel. Obviously, some more Michigan State basketball content on the channel as well. So make sure you subscribe so you don't miss a video. So we'll start out in the South region. Won't spend too much time on it. If you already watched the Michigan State video, we kind of gave a few more initial thoughts on this, but obviously Auburn, top overall seed here, playing the winner of Alabama State and St. Francis. I think Auburn, has the easy first game there. I don't think, you really look at the 116. Yes, it has happened. I don't really see any of these one seeds losing in the first round. I do believe there's potential for, just initial thoughts, 2 of the 1 seeds, potential round of 32 upsets here, but we'll get to that once we get to those teams. Louisville-Creighton, I think, will be a really good game in that first round, but obviously you have a buzzsaw in Auburn here, waiting with the second round for the winner of that one. Then you have that school down the road playing UC San Diego in that 5-12 matchup. Don't know a lot about UC San Diego, but a lot of people are already on them early on, so can't wait to dive into that matchup, see what happens there. Texas A&M, Yale, obviously that's an interesting matchup. If that school down the road wins and advances to the next round, and so does Yale. Obviously, that's where Danny Wolf played before, so, interesting storylines there. You got the 6th seed Ole Miss playing the winner of San Diego State and North Carolina. Surprised North Carolina got in, but definitely I think that performance against Duke, even without Cooper Flagg, kind of pushed them to the edge there, and kind of figured they would get in here. But I could see a path, even though North Carolina has been bad all year. I could see a path where they beat Ole Miss, and if they can contend with Iowa State, when you get down to the bottom of this bracket, you got Michigan State, Bryant, then you got Marquette, New Mexico right there. Should Michigan State get past the first weekend, I wouldn't mind Iowa State being out of this. I definitely think down in this, first region, before when we get to the Sweet 16, before you get to the Elite 8, I definitely think obviously Iowa State is that next best team that Michigan State's looking at. Obviously, it's March Madness. We know this far too well as a Michigan State fan here, but you can lose to anyone on any given day. That's how it is, but definitely some teams circling at would, if they want to get upset before we face them, would not complain. Iowa State, definitely one of those. Ole Miss, I think, could be tough as well. Marquette, really good coach team as well. So those are definitely some tough matchups for Michigan State, should they get past that first game in the South region. But yeah, just initial thoughts. Auburn, definitely, I think, Elite 8 kind of out of this region, kind of pencil that in there. And initial thoughts, like Michigan State, coming from the bottom half of that bracket, just initial thoughts here. We're going to go over to the East side of the bracket. You got Duke playing the winner of American and Mount St. Mary's. Again, I don't think any of the 1 seeds are getting upset in the first round. Duke, I like them getting past that game either. Don't really expect much of a challenge either. Second game, Mississippi State and Baylor. I think there could obviously be the interesting storylines with Baylor, with Jeremy Roach being there. And I like Baylor. I had Baylor in my Final Four beginning of the year. I don't think they have enough to upset Duke in the second round unless Cooper Flagg is out. And obviously you hope he's good and able to play in the tournament. But unless Cooper Flagg is out for that game, I don't think it will be. I think it could be a little spicy, at times, but I think Duke rolls through the first weekend easy there. Oregon, Liberty, Arizona, Akron. I think those are 2 really good teams in Oregon and Arizona. I think that would be an incredible second round 4-5 matchup. BYU, VCU, Wisconsin, Montana. I like Wisconsin a lot. Talked about it in our previews, recaps, playing Wisconsin here over the last 2 weeks from Michigan State side. John Tanji, obviously, really good player. 1-2 for Big Ten Player of the Year, right behind Braden Smith. in my opinion. But I could kind of see a BYU path to Sweet 16 here. Bottom of the bracket here, St. Mary's, Vanderbilt, Alabama, Robert Morris. I think this is Alabama straight to the Sweet 16. I think Vandy could provide some troubles here in the second game, possibly, but I still like Alabama moving on there. Initial thoughts on the Elite Eight matchup potentially there. Duke and coming from the bottom half, probably Alabama. And then we'll go down to the Midwest. Now, this is where I think things could start to get not so chalk here. Houston, SIU, Edwardsville. I think that's Houston all day. Like I said, I don't think any of the one seeds in the first round. The second round, though, Gonzaga, Georgia in that first game. I think Gonzaga gets that. I'm kind of, initial thoughts, I kind of like Gonzaga to get past Houston this second round matchup here. Clemson, McNeese, Purdue, High Point. Clemson or Purdue, I think that'd be a really good game. Just initial thoughts, that would be a really good game. I don't even know. I kind of Purdue just because I think Braden Smith's the best point guard in the country, but TKR really good as well. But I wouldn't be surprised Purdue or Clemson getting past here, and I think whoever wins that matchup has a good shot of getting to the Elite Eight there, should that matchup happen. Illinois versus the winner of Texas and Xavier. I think this is an interesting matchup. I think I like Illinois to win 2 games here in this first weekend. Kentucky, Troy, probably Kentucky getting past, but I kind of like Illinois in that second game getting to the Sweet 16. I know that's kind of just a running joke now. Everyone joking like Illinois has the highest ceiling. Like, I know that's kind of the running joke, but they are probably 1-2 most talented teams in the Big Ten, and they are talented if everything's working. But definitely have had some struggles this year, some injury, illness, but if they are healthy, I kind of like them getting out of the first weekend here, just initial thoughts. Bottom of the bracket, UCLA, Utah State, and Tennessee, Wofford. This is probably Tennessee. I don't think any of these 4 teams are, Final Four bound, and really, I don't even think any of these 4 teams are Elite 8 bound. I kind of like Illinois, just looking right now, to go to the Elite 8. I could maybe see Tennessee get into the Elite 8 from this bottom half of the Midwest, but yeah, that's kind of just where I sit initial thoughts, and then the West is where I think things could get really interesting. Florida, Norfolk State, I think Florida gets that one, but then UConn and Oklahoma are 2 teams that I came into this tournament wanting to ride for a couple rounds. I thought, they were obviously going to be seated really low and could upset some teams here early on, and UConn obviously back-to-back defending national champions, but then Oklahoma, I talked about it in the conference tournament preview. Give me Jeremiah Fears in a tournament setting any day. We obviously get this matchup now in the first round. I think this is going to be one of, if not the best game of the first round of the entire bracket. So early on, but I will say this. Initial thoughts on this. I think whoever wins this UConn-Oklahoma game is beating Florida in the second round. And looking at it even more, I think even spicier take, I think whoever wins this UConn-Oklahoma game is going to the Elite Eight. Then you move down, Memphis, Colorado State, Maryland, Grand Canyon. Memphis, really good team, obviously beat Michigan State earlier this year. Maryland, Grand Canyon. Maryland, I worry about in the tournament setting here as we get into the NCAA tournament. Obviously, they only play 5 players, 5 really good players, but don't have a lot of depth, obviously. Don't really get much contributions from their bench. So that's where I sit right now there. And then Missouri and Drake. Drake, definitely a team that everyone is high on as a Cinderella team here. Texas Tech, UNC, Wilmington in that 3-14 matchup there. And then the bottom of this bracket, absolutely incredible. And either way, how this goes, you're setting up for a really fun second round matchup. You got Kansas at 7 and Bill Self. And then you got Arkansas and John Calipari as the 10 seed there. Then you got St. John's and Omaha. And this is setting up an incredible, you either have Bill Self versus Rick Pitino in the second round, or you have John Calipari versus Rick Pitino, which the stories and the histories there, I mean, this is definitely storylines galore here in the West region there at the bottom of the bracket. So definitely interesting there. Coming from the bottom, I don't know. I mean, Rick Pitino's Rick Pitino, but just kind of looking at it right now, I don't think we're gonna see chalk here. I obviously said that at the top. I guess right now, before diving into anything, probably St. John's I like going to the Elite Eight, but don't get me wrong, I wouldn't be surprised if Missouri, Drake, Texas Tech made it to the Elite Eight either. So I definitely think that the West has a lot of regions. So really, kind of just a brief overview of the whole thing. I think the top of the brackets, the South and the East, are kind of chalky when we're looking at the elite, getting to the Elite Eight. When we get to the bottom, the Midwest and the West, I think is where things can kind of start getting funky and March Madness-like. So those are just the initial thoughts. As I kind of said at the beginning of this video, we're going to have separate videos breaking down each region, the South, the East, the Midwest, and the West region. So look for those throughout the week. And then we will have a women's side of the bracket about 45 minutes now from that being revealed. We'll have another similar to this initial thoughts reaction video to that. And then same thing, breakdown for the women's side of the bracket. Then right before the games start at the end of this week, we will have a full predictions video filling out our bracket from the men's side, from the women's side, and then later on in the week, before Michigan State's first game, we will have a preview up for that one as well. So that'll do it for this one. Thank you all so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Peace out.